And we're back with another episode of the MDM podcast. I'm Joe Morales, today joined by my good friend Judah Aloof. How you doing, Judah?
I'm doing great today, Joe. How are you?
I'm good. We are in separate locations. I'm in the studio. He's in his house, so we can't be with each other. But we're here to break down. Sorry.
We've been doing this for a little bit of time, but it's been working well.
I'm surprised of how well it's actually worked. We've done 2 shows together now, and it's taken a long time to get this one specifically set up. But
you know what, Joe? I want to commend you on having a great podcast. I mean, we started on one singular snowball microphone, worked our way up to a pretty good studio, and now we're making our way through in this quarantine.
And now we can't even use the studio after that.
I know, it's really a great studio, guys. You guys should definitely see it. It's crazy.
But one day we'll be back here. One day we'll be talking real baseball and actual
Real
football
baseball.
games if they ever get played again. But today we're doing Korean baseball because that's what we've got. And they finished they finished their 3rd series of the year. They play 3 games per series, and of course there are 5 games, so there were a total of 20 games to break down. Maybe it's a little more. My multiplication's off.
The season's been really good this year. It's actually going a lot smoother than many expected.
So we'll start with the NC Dinos and KT Wiz, where we saw the Dinos sweep the Wiz. So in the first game, Judah, the Dinos won 7-6. What did you see in this game?
Well, their starter, Drew Wasinski, he pitched 5 1/3 inning, 5 earned runs, and the Wiz also scored off of an error. But the Dinos have really displayed their great bullpen depth, where 4 2/3 inning in the first game, no earned runs. It's definitely one of the most powerful parts of their team.
And you talk about the bullpen. I'll go on the offensive side where we saw Suckman Park hit 2 home runs, and that could have been, I think it was, the winning efforts. That's why they won 7-6 because of his 2 home runs.
Yeah, no, it's really the Dinos really have some power mixed with a lot of good. They're a very balanced team, and that really does go out credit for the coaching.
So far this season, they're all around the best team with their pitching and their offense. They're by far the best team so far.
I mean,
and the standings show
that clear. ESPN has made that very clear. They're only broadcasting their games, and they're constantly bringing it up. And they really are a dynamic team that are really interesting to watch.
For the losing side, the KT Wiz, the bullpen had to go 4 innings and gave up 4 runs in those 4 innings. Only 3 guys out of the lineup didn't get hit, so both sides hit pretty well. And there was another good game from Mil Rojas Jr. So what did you see out of the KT Wiz?
Well, on the pitching side, we saw some okay pitching out of sorry if I say his name wrong. I think it's
we're all getting it wrong. Don't worry.
Yeah, even the Dominican name. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, and we just saw more terrible bullpen pitching. 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs collectively. They need better bullpen performance. I mean, overall the team is not terrible, but if their bullpen pitching can just step up, if one player can just step up, they could really be an overall decent team.
In our first show, we talked about how the KT Wiz have the potential to be the KBO's Baltimore Orioles. And so far, they're showing it because they're 1-7 all the way at the bottom of the league. So that's something to keep their eye on, and it doesn't get any better in the next 2 games. So in Game 2, the Dinos won 5-4, and we saw more good pitching, like Judah alluded to. Aloof alluded to. Sorry. Another good game from Mike Wright. He went 6 innings and gave up a 1 earned run. And for retrospect, in the first game, he went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs. So he looks to be getting better as the games go on. But what did you see in Game 2 that caught your eye?
Well, obviously, it's just the start of the season, but it's a really good sign to see an American ball player like Mike Wright doing this well. He's looking like a solid pitcher, and again, in Game 2, good bullpen performance, and there's nothing to really complain about on the pitching side. But on the offensive side, I just want to bring something up, and that's the struggles that Aaron Altherr has been dealing with here. And this really doesn't help because in Game 2, he got struck with a fastball, 88 miles per hour in the knuckle, and it really kind of set him back a little bit. He did play in Game 3, but you could tell that it was still bugging him a little bit.
The guy that came into their place, Altherr, he goes by the name of Jin Kung Sang. He came in and hit a walk-off single in the 10th inning.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're really not seeming to miss out Altherr too much that game.
He also had a 2-run homer that game. And just a good note from the KT Wiz, if there are any, Mil Rojas had 2 hits. So there's something to look back on if you're a KT Wiz fan. Although you are 1-7, but that's the one bright spot. Game 3 now, the Dinos completed the sweep. They won 1-0, and you just ripped Aaron Altherr apart. He came back this game and drove in the only run. So in the Dinos 1-0 winning efforts, what did you see from the Dinos, and how good was their bullpen?
Listen, I was reading some reports. Umpire had a terrific game, very consistent strike zone, and both pitchers were really dealing. I mean, Chang Mo Koo, Dino starting pitcher, 8 innings, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts. That's an outstanding pitching performance, especially from what I've seen in the KBO and the patterns that I've been seeing. A lot of short inning, very low amount of pitches, a very quick bullpen. That's what I've been seeing out of the KBO this year, and Chang Moku has been pitching very well this season. In his last start, 6 innings, 0 earned runs. So this could be his breakout year. A total of 14 innings, 0 earned runs. And on the Wiz side, again, some great pitching. Ji Seong Bae.
It's all right.
Again, sorry for the mispronunciation. We're going to see a lot of this. 7 innings, no earned runs. So this could be a breakout year for both pitchers, as they've both been pitching amazing this year.
On the contrary to what you said about low amounts of pitches and fewer innings, in this game, we saw both starters pitch deep into the game without
Yeah.
giving up a run. So that's a good little difference to what you were
Yeah.
talking
Well,
about.
if anything, it honestly surprises me because with the KBO and its obviously lack of velocity compared to American baseball, you'd expect more pitches to be thrown, but it's just I guess it's just the norm over there. I mean, we're learning as we go on. We haven't been watching KBO for our whole lives like we have with the MLB, so it's good to get a taste of culture from the KBO. We're still learning,
So
and it just seems to be the norm.
after this series, I think we've come to the conclusion that the Dinos are the best team in the league thus far. They're in first place right now with a record of 7-1, and the team behind them, the Latte Giants, is just only a game back. So it's good to see them getting a head start of the year, and by far to me, they look like the best team.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There's not really that many downsides for the Dinos, and if I may even bring it up, their catcher, who is maybe the best player in the KBO, he hasn't even been hitting that well this season, and neither has Altair. So if they could pick it up, this team is going to be dangerous. I'll tell you that.
Starting this weekend, the Dinos are gonna go to I don't even know where it is. They're going to play the Werevins because they're not. It's not in SK. It's not a place. It's just a.
Yeah.
So they're playing the Werevins this weekend wherever they play. And as for the Wiz are going to host the Samsung Lions. So that's where they're going to be this weekend. And anything else to add on the series?
Well, nothing on this series. I just want to mention that there's going to be 1 a.m. games on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm pretty excited for those. I'm definitely going to be tuning in.
As will I. I'll be with you. The second series, Kia Tigers versus Hanwha Eagles. The Tigers took the series 2-1. In the first game, the Tigers won 2-1. And we saw more good pitching out of Aaron Brooks.
Yeah, Aaron Brooks has been pitching tremendously this season. 7 innings, 1 earned run, and they also have a pretty decent bullpen. They have 2 relievers that I've noted, and I see that they're pitching pretty well. Sang Hyun and Kyung Chen. They both did well with 4 strikeouts and 2 innings together.
So out of all foreign pitchers, he's third in the league in ERA, tied with Dan Straley, who's doing really good on the Latte Giants. So Aaron Brooks looks to be their best pitcher so far and their number one starter. And as for the Eagles, Min-Woo Kim, 7 innings, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, and the bullpen gave up their last 2 runs. So both starters in this game pitched deep into the game, did very well, and both sides couldn't get any offense going.
Yeah, that was basically the gist of the game.
It was pretty simple. Second game, the Tigers also won 4-3, and now we're seeing the emergence of Sang Hyun Jun and Kyung Chan Moon. Those are bullpen pitchers, and the Eagles still can't seem to find any run consistency as they're losing games in when they're not scoring a lot of runs.
Yeah, listen, obviously the Eagles aren't the best hitting team, but I've seen some great performances from those 2 bullpen pitchers, and that's pretty much that was basically the most important part of the series. We saw a really big emergence of that bullpen.
For both sides, we saw pitching was fairly decent, and the offense was okay. Specifically for the Eagles, like you said, they seem to have nothing going so far. Game number 3, the Eagles avoided the sweep. They won 4-1. Min Jae Jang threw 7 innings of 1-run baseball. The third baseman Sun Jin Oh drove in 2 runs. And that was why they were able to get the win.
Well, yeah. For the Eagles side, it was really a great pitching performance from them, and almost everyone hit on that side. It was a good overall performance for the Eagles.
I got to apologize again for the way I'm saying these names, and it slows us down a little bit. But you and me both were having trouble with this, so you got to stick with us here. For the Kia Tigers, former Met pitcher Drew Gagnon was rocked in this game. 4 runs, 7 hits, only through 5 innings. So he's got to get himself going in this series if he wants to be a good pitcher for the Tigers.
Yeah, I agree with you there. He's trying to get his career back on track, and this season it's been a very slow start.
The Kia Tigers. Oh no, the Kia Tigers are 4-5. The Hanwha Eagles are further up there, 6-3. The Eagles this weekend host the Latte Giants, and the Tigers host the Bears. So, pretty good teams going into their towns. Anything else you want to add on this series?
Nope, nothing much. It's all been pretty good, but I do want to mention Preston Tucker. He's been very dynamic this year. He's been very good. He didn't do amazing this season, but and this series, I mean, he didn't do amazing this series, but it wasn't a bad series at all. But I am pretty excited to see the foreign players race because there's been a lot of good foreign players this year,
For
and
Preston,
I just want to see where he compares.
well, I can tell you right now, but first, for Preston Tucker, his on base percentage is at 500. It's tied for third in the league, and he's also third in RBIs at 11. When you rank him up against other foreign players, he leads the league in games, but that's not so much just because he had a lot of teams had rain delays. He has 3 home runs, which is the most among foreign players, and 6 walks so far. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
one of the best foreign players out there.
Well, someone who was previously an Astros prospect, he's coming over here. He's definitely gained some discipline from when he was a rookie. He's definitely built his game all around a lot better than he was whenever he was in America. Now, granted, this isn't the KBO, so it's not as high of a level as baseball, but it still is pretty impressive to see, and I'm happy for him.
13 hits through 9 games is pretty good, along with a 1.250 OPS through those 9 games. So he's really having a good start to the KBO so far.
Yeah.
Doosan Bears versus Latte Giants. The Bears won the series 2-1. The Bears also took game 1. They won 11-6. The pitching for both sides obviously was really weak. The Giants used 6 pitchers in this game and gave up 11 runs. And the Bears, of course, Jose Fernandez, he looks to be one of the best players in this league, ranking among the best in batting average, on base percentage, hits. That's among all of Korean Baseball League players. So what did you see in game 1 here, if anything caught your eye?
Well, it looked to be an offensive explosion for the Bears. We saw again more great hitting from Jose Fernandez. He's really been amazing this year. And Kim Jae Hwan, he went 4 for 4 with a home run and 4 RBIs, so it was really a good game for him in game 1. But it really wasn't expected. I mean, the Giants have been seeming elite on the pitching side and the run prevention side. But the Giants' overall good pitching got completely destroyed. And it was really surprising to see for me because I thought that the Giants were mostly a lock. But I guess it happens. It's baseball. It's baseball. No matter if it's in the MLB or in the KBO, teams have bad days.
Right. So if I can talk about Jose Fernandez for a second, he leads foreign players in average at 500, OBP at 541, hits and runs. And he ranks top 5 in slugging, OPS, and home runs. So easily one of the best all around players in the league, if not only foreign players. So and I also want to touch on Jaehwan Kim. What did you see from him on the Bears this series?
Jaehwan Kim. Yeah, no, it really, like I said, he hit really well this series, and it was pretty impressive to see, honestly. And I'm happy that he was able to find industry.
In the second game, the Giants beat the Bears 10-9, and it was the second straight game that turned into a slugfest. And of course, another big game for Jose Fernandez and Jaehwan Kim for the Bears. And then on the Latte Giants side, it was a great game for Dixon Machado. And they ended up walking off in the ninth inning. Byung Hun Min hit a walk-off homer in the ninth. So from game 2, another slugfest. What did you see?
Well, on the Giants side, again, like you said, Dixon Machado, he's honestly really been really impressing me. As a shortstop, he's hitting extremely well. He got a clutch 2 RBI double in that game too, and he's batting 346 this year. And there's overall a few great hitters in that game too. Lee Dae-ho, he's a prolific power hitter in the KBO, well known. He had 2 RBIs that game. And a veteran, Son A. Seop. He's been an amazing player throughout his career with the Giants, drove 2 runs. It was overall a good performance from the players that you would expect to hit well for the Giants.
Right, it was a good game for all the hitters on both teams, and we talk about Dixon Machado for the first time. He is not doing so well ranked among the other rookies, except for home runs and RBIs, which you could argue are the most important. But his batting
Yeah, I
average,
mean
his OBP aren't really up
RBIs have
there.
really been yeah, the RBIs have really been impressing me. I mean, for a shortstop who's actually fairly well defensively, I don't think he's made an error so far this year. He's really been impressing me, and I'm really happy with the stats I'm seeing from him.
So let's go over to game 3 where the Bears won 7-4. Again, Jose Fernandez does well. He hits a solo home run. JLO went 4 for 5 and drove in 3 runs. And the Bears' middle of the lineup came up clutch like they had in the past 2 days. So the Bears get the third game here. What did you see from the Bears and the Latte Giants in the series?
Well, Chris Flexen pitched well, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. The bullpen didn't pitch so well. What I'm seeing from the Bears is the bullpen isn't anything too special, but it's not terrible. And for the Giants, let's see here. Giants game 3, a good performance from their starter, who went 5 innings, 1 earned runs. They relied on their bullpen, who have been really good this year, but this series didn't look too good. 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs again for the bullpen. So this series, they definitely weren't as good pitching wise from the bullpen.
If I can touch specifically on the Latte Giants real quick, they clustered together 9 hits, but the pitching still couldn't get it done like they have this entire series. So similar to the Wervins Twins game, like we'll get to in a minute, it turned into a slugfest. Both sides can hit, but both sides also had trouble pitching. So we'll see if they can fix that going down the stretch, and we'll talk about it much more as the season goes on. Anything else to add on that series?
Yeah, I just wanted to note that they have a 2010 MVP. I think they're paying him somewhat of something around $2.25 million per year for Dae-Ho Lee. He went 4 for 4 today. He's in the middle of their lineup. I think he's batting third for them in most games, and it would be great for the Giants overall if he could really pick it up, because overall the team around him, they've been hitting very well. And if he could pick it up in the middle of the order, this team could be a top of the table team. They could be second, first, third seed, anything like that. I'd see it definitely happening.
I've noticed that you pay attention to the contracts of some of these teams. So is $2.2 million any good? Are those the best players that get paid? 2.2.
So I've noticed throughout the KBO, a lot of these players get paid get paid in very long contracts. A trend that we also see in the MLB lately: Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, to name a few. But it seems that these players that won 2014, 2015, 2010 MVPs get paid 10-year contracts, and they try to lock them in for a long time. But based on what I'm seeing, it's mostly because these players aren't very loyal to their teams. I see a lot of different players going to a lot of different teams, and $2.2 million is up there for the most in the entire league.
Yeah, it's weird that they give them such long, hefty contracts, especially considering that they could move on to the MLB if they have a good season. I don't know what the process is to get them out of there, but I'm sure the teams have to give Major League Baseball or the players some sort of compensation for leaving the contract.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's odd. I mean, when you think about it, a player like this really brings fans into the ballpark. So it really has to be a hefty compensation, I'd assume. And it's hard as a player to accept a long contract like that. Whenever you have such good potential to actually play in the MLB, but some of these players are fine with not making the MLB because some of these players love the atmosphere over there.
Yeah, assuming that they don't have any aspirations of going to the MLB, these long contracts must work out great for them. If they consider themselves loyal to Korea and they want to stay there for a long time, yeah, then why not go ahead and sign a 10-year contract? But if you're considering coming over to the United States, those long contracts might not be just for you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's something that you could. It's something if you're planning to settle down, have a family in Korea. It's definitely a great thing for baseball players over there. And I've been seeing it. It's a very big trend over the KBO. We're going to talk about it a few more times over this podcast.
Next series is the Samsung Lions against the Kiwoom Heroes. We saw the Lions win the series 2-1, but the Heroes got the first game. They won 3-2. So in this game, what did you see from both sides?
Well, on the Heroes, I saw Eric Jokish. He went 6 innings, 0 earned runs. They have a solid bullpen, probably middle of the league if you rank them among other bullpens. Overall, their pitching is pretty solid as a team, and in this game, their pitching was pretty solid. And from the sorry, not from the Giants,
The
from
Lions.
Samsung.
Yep.
We saw Ben Lively. He kind of had a comeback performance after letting up 4 runs in his first performance against the Dinos, who, to his credit, are a pretty good team. But in this performance, he had 2 earned runs over 6 innings pitched, and a good showing for their bullpen as well. So 2 solid bullpens, 2 solid pitching teams.
I can't speak to their rotation depth talking about the Samsung Lions, but so far Ben Lively, although he had that really bad start, seems to be one of their innings eaters. He ranks third in the league, tied for third with a couple people. In innings, he's got 12 innings through 2 games. So going forward, he might be one of those guys who's going to pitch every fifth day and eat some innings for you and give your bullpen a little bit of a day off. And if he can
Well,
do it
yeah.
just like this, he'd be really good at it.
Well, a team like Samsung is obviously not one of the most prolific teams in the KBO, so they can't obviously have or at least they don't have the best bullpen in the league. So it's good to have a pitcher like that, so where you can let your bullpen rest and really perform against some of the better teams or the better lineups that you have to face.
If I can get off topic for a second, I have the standings printed out in front of me. And in the standings, they have the logos. And when I look at the Samsung Lions logo, it reminds me so much of the Detroit Lions. I don't know why. I think it's just the color. But when I look at the Detroit Lions logo, it comes to with failure. So
I don't know. I guess they all like blue lines or something. I mean, it's not really a common trend to me. I don't really see blue lines out in the wild that often, but
I
that's what teams like.
but I don't. The logo reminds me so much of the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions
Yeah.
have no success whatsoever recently.
Well, it seems like both teams don't have much success recently.
Yeah,
But I guess that's just the Lions thing. Maybe they get screwed over in the KBO as well by umpires,
but anyway,
as the NFL Lions do.
back to the topic here. Game one, we saw both bullpens perform really well. Not a lot of offense out of both teams, but the Heroes did enough to get the win. And at the end of the day, it's all that matters. If you can get
Well,
the win.
there was a really interesting point. There's a really interesting thing that happened, if I may add. Tyler Saladino, he's getting paid $800,000 per year to play third base for the team, the Lions, that is. And he wasn't a great defender so far this year. He's been hitting horribly. Joe, you just read me something that said that he can't even
Couldn't hit off a
if they
tee.
tried.
Yep.
So they put him on the injured reserve, I believe, for his ankle, and they subbed him out in game one. And as we'll discuss in a few minutes, they're really not missing his pop in the lineup, as he really was having a bad year so far.
Yeah.
And,
So
and when it comes to the Heroes, we saw a team star, Park Byung-ho. He was a 2012 and 2013 KBO MVP. He's only batting .261 with 2 home runs. So let's see if he can pick it up in his age 33 season.
So Judah, you addressed it already. So Tyler Saladino goes to the 10-day injured list after game 2, where the team said he's healthy enough to play. He's just not 100%. So this early in the season, when one of your foreign players, which is limited, you can't have that many foreign players. When one of them is limited, it's best to get them healthy, especially when they're not playing well. Get them fully healthy and then come back. And hopefully he can turn things around because foreign players are capped and he's going to be one of their best players.
Well, I just want to note something here. If I was a Samsung Lions fan, I'd be extremely scared right now because guess what? I'm a Yankees fan, and I saw the same thing happen with Giancarlo Stanton last year. And he was expected to come back sometime in July. Nope, didn't come back at all that year. And he really just was not – he just never played for us.
Well,
So as a Lions fan, I'm really scared about this. And you're going to – as a trainer and the coach, you're going to want to keep him out of action as much as possible.
That's what happened to Aaron Judge this morning or yesterday. We heard Aaron Boone say Judge would be ready to go in a few weeks during spring training, and now he's saying he might not be ready for summertime.
Yeah, no, it's
rough.
It's crazy stuff. It's rough.
Anything else to add from game 1? Again, Heroes win 3-2.
I'm ready to move on for game 2.
In this game, Samsung won 5-0, and you saw good pitching from David Buchanan. So what did you see in this game?
Well, David Buchanan, he didn't pitch very well in his first start, but in this one he pitched an absolute gem. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs, and 8 strikeouts on only 2 hits.
2 hits. Yeah.
Honestly, seeing this season, I actually wonder when the last time a no-hitter was thrown in the KBO because none of these pitchers seem to go 9 innings. I think there was only 1 complete game so far this year.
Well, you see that all together in Major League Baseball now. Pitchers don't necessarily go that long into games. Everything's at a pitch cap limit. So no hitters in perfect games are gonna be a thing of the past in a couple of years.
Yeah, I definitely see that happening. It's definitely a trend. Choi and Woo pitched well at the bullpen. For the Lions.
No runs given up, obviously.
Yeah, and then for game 2 on the side of Kiwoom, we saw a great starting performance by Won-tae Choi, who went 7 in the third with 6 strikeouts and only 2 earned runs. This pitching was good again, but they had some bad fielding, which led to a few errors and a few runs for the Samsung,
Well,
and that really what caused them to lose because it wasn't a high scoring game at all. So, that's kind of the reason that they lost. I think
at the end of the day, they only had 2 hits. So getting no runs obviously will not get you a win. Going
yeah,
forward, the next game they
I mean
scored
it's
5
basic
runs.
math.
So
It's basic math.
yeah, so the next game they scored 5 runs. So really, there was no chance for them to win because hell, there were no runs scored.
Yeah.
Anything else
Well,
to add on game 2?
um, well, as I said before, Park Byung Ho. If he could pick it up, then it'd definitely be a great thing to happen for the for the Heroes. And I think this is kind of one of those situations where giving a star player a 10-year, 15-year contract comes back to bite you because this Park Byung Ho 2014 and 15 MVP or 2012 13 MVP. He's really not hitting that well this season, and this is honestly what we might be able to see with Bryce Harper as he gets older, or Mike Trout just really losing that pop. And if he really can't hit this year, then as a Heroes fan, you're going to expect your team not to be able to make deep playoff runs in the future because they're not going to have the cap. Byung Ho is really taking up 20% of it.
I had that listed under my game 3 notes because he didn't get anything going in game 3 either. So there's cause of concern now that he's not getting going almost 10 games into the season.
See, the thing is that for power hitters like him, where power is his main asset, it's really hard to come back because we see a lot of players, do amazing after the All-Star break. People like Lindor who are all around great players, or Springer, people like that. But when your power hitter is lacking, it's hard to notch that 40 home run mark after the first half of the season is over when you only have 10 home runs.
Don't forget, it's hard not to notice when your power hitter's not performing well either because their only thing is home runs. But the contact guy like Jeff McNeil, you might not notice it as much because he's only hitting singles and doubles.
Yeah, that's definitely true because you it's hard to assess power until you actually see the numbers go down after a full season. You can't just say, "Oh, our guy is weaker than he was." Our guy is weaker than he was 6 months ago.
Right, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Over to game 3, this is where the Lions got their series win. They won 8-5. Like we said, Tyler Saladino goes on the DL before the game, and for the Lions, their middle of the order drove in 7 of their 8 runs this game. So what else did you see in this game?
Well, yeah, the middle of the order. Well, middle of the order is being pretty generous. Numbers 2 through 6, 7 RBIs total. And the leadoff hitter, Sang-Soo Kim, he notched 3 hits and an RBI and a couple of runs, so that was good. And the bullpen pitching looked solid on Samsung this game. Not a great start for their pitcher, 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. But the team came together and pitched pretty well this game.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for Byung Ho Park, like I said earlier. The Heroes scored some runs, but like in the end of the day, the pitching could not handle the Lions' middle of the order. 7 RBIs, they can't happen. Yeah. Anything else to add on this series?
Nothing much. I mean, Samsung honestly looks a lot better than I thought they were at first glance. But once you take a deep dive into the game, look at the stats, Samsung has a good chance of being a middle of the table team.
All right, here's the last series: the SK Wyverns against the LG Twins in this series. So the Twins sweep. They got game 1. They won 9-5. What did you see in this game, Judah?
Well, for the Wyverns, Nick Kingham did bad again. 5 earned runs and only 3 2/3 innings. It was I was really high on Kingham. After his first start was against the LG Twins, who aren't a statistically great hitting team. I really expected a bounce back performance from Kingham, but he just didn't make it happen, and I was pretty disappointed in that.
For the Wyverns, we also saw Dong Min Han go 2 for 3 with the homer and 4 RBIs. So that was almost half their runs. For the Twins, Woo Chen Sha start. I'm sorry. There was okay pitching. That might be a typo. I'd apologize if it was a typo, but
nah, it's definitely not a typo. It's just tongue twisters, man.
Okay pitching wasn't great. 5 runs is I would never say 5 runs is great, but they ended up getting the win, so that's all that matters. And Roberto Ramos emerges as one of the game's best power hitters. He hits 2 home runs this game.
Roberto Ramos. What was it? The Blue Jays that released him? Or
Colorado Rockies.
Rockies should be feeling stupid. Tearing the cover off the baseball this season. 450 batting average. 2 home runs. Well, you can make that 3 now because he knocked in a 2-run home run in game 1.
For the second game, the Twins continue to roll 14-2 now. Let's call it like it is, dude. The Ravens were bad in all aspects in this game.
Yeah, it was really a pathetic performance. It really made me mad when I see a team that has they have limited talent, obviously, but it really makes me mad when I see a team this on this with this little chemistry
bad.
and it was just overall bad. I mean, Pinto pitched terribly. He couldn't control the strike zone. He was throwing uncompetitive pitches. 8 walks, I think it was 8 walks, man. Throw the pitches in the dirt, pitches almost hitting the players. He's throwing 89 miles an hour. I don't get it. And the hitting was just absurdly bad. I mean, there's off days, but there's days where it just felt like the players didn't want to even be there. And this was just one of those days.
It goes to show you why they're 1-7. They can't. Like you said, there's no chemistry. They can't throw strikes. Yeah. They're walking the ballpark, and nothing went right.
Just easily the worst team in the league, in my opinion. I'm so angry to see a team this disorganized.
They've lost 6 in a row now. They're 1-7 on the year.
Too harsh, but it's just, man. I don't want to be harsh, but it's just,
no. Go good. Air it out, Judah.
Okay. I'll keep it short and simple. Statistically, this team is hitting and pitching horrendously.
No, I'll keep it short and simple. They suck.
There you go. Good way of putting it.
So in game 2, the Twins jumped on the pitching, like Judah said, early, and they never looked back. They scored 8 runs in the second inning, and that game was over before it started.
I'll tell you what, though. Not only was their pitching bad, but let's talk about their fielding.
Oh, my God!
The second inning should have been over at 4 runs allowed. But instead, their second baseman decided to make an error. And guess what happened?
Scored
8-run inning. Man,
nothing goes right.
It was just a nightmare. I swear to God, I could have put down the New Jersey Little League World Series team. They could have played better than the Warriors.
When it goes bad, it goes bad.
It went bad. It went really bad.
In game 3, the Twins completed the sweep, going 3. They won 3-2. Both starters gave up only 2 runs, and Kung Woo Jung hit a walk-off single in the 9th inning. It was different from both other games where it was a slugfest, and I compare it to the Doosan Bears series just because there were so many runs scored.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Ravens can't get any pitching going. They got to find some consistency somewhere with one starter.
Yeah, I'm all out of energy after that ramble, man. They really need to pick it up. I don't know if they have to make a change in the coaching or whatever. They just need to get a locker room guy in there, but they need to pick up the morale. They're playing sluggishly, and they are not playing like they should. Their offense is playing terribly, and this game, honestly speaking, they weren't terrible pitching. I mean, 3 runs collectively, but overall, just their team is just lacking.
Their offense and pitching can't get on the same side. And good teams, when they're performing well, both sides correlate with each other, usually. And for the Ravens, nothing's going right.
Yeah, and if I have to be honest, I don't even think the Ravens even have a star player on their team. Based on what I'm seeing, if I can just look real quick, I don't even think any of them are any star players, and they're foreign player.
They're a bunch of nobodies. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, his foreign player his name is Jamie Romack, and he's also been having a terrible year. And I just don't see the attraction for the Ravens. I feel like they're going to be the worst team in the league this year, without a doubt.
At least the KT Wiz, who were also 1-7, have some light spotlights, like Mel Rojas Jr. and who else is on here? That's about it. But yeah, at least they have someone you can look at.
Yeah, I mean, I never had a baseball team that made me truly angry to watch, and this is just one of those teams.
This is a team you won't be watching in a month and a half.
No, if ESPN broadcasts this team, they might get 7 viewers at 1 a.m.
It's okay. So that's all the series. Let's go ahead and look at the standings. So the NC Dinos are up top. They're 7-1. Latte Giants 6-2. Kiwoom Heroes 6-3. Doosan Bears 5-3. LG Twins 5-3. Kia Tigers 4-5. Samsung Lions 4-5. Hanwha Eagles 3-6. The Ravens 1-7. And at last place, the KT Wiz at 1-7. So we've already said this before, but the Dinos are emerging as the best team in the league by far. And this series, the Dinos are going to get the SK Ravens. So I think one of those games is going to be televised, Judah, so we can watch their awfulness together.
Oh my God, this is gonna be Yankees versus Orioles, just beating up on them. I wonder who's gonna be the Glaber Torres for who's beating up on the Wyverns this series.
I'll be watching with you. We'll both find out.
I
But the
mean,
lot, the lot.
if I may just note out, there's a couple of teams that really impressed me this season, and I think are really going to go far. There's three teams, and the KT Wiz are not as bad as people are making them out to be. I think they have some good pieces on offense, and they're eventually going to get it together, finish middle of the table. But there's a few teams that really impress me, and that's a Latte. That's a Latte Giants. I mean, they have Adrian Sampson. They have great overall pitching, great bullpen. They didn't really show it that well in the series, but overall they have great bullpen, amazing hitting. Doosan Bears are right up there. I think they also have amazing hitting. And don't forget about the NC Dinos. We all know how good they are.
I think we're sleeping on the LG Twins. There are times that we just talked about it where they burst out in these offensive.
Well, if I may just talk about it here. This series, LG faced SK. So SK has the worst pitching in the league by far, in my opinion. And before that, it didn't. I saw one game where the LG Twins really got above what I think. I think they got like 12 runs one game, and then the rest of their games were all like 3 runs. 3 runs is really low for a KBO team. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So the LG Twins really don't impress me that much. I feel like they had a good series against the worst team in the league, and they had a couple of good games, but every single other game they looked really low. I mean, I don't think the LG Twins are that bad. I just think they're more of the lower half of the table type of team.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying they're going to go to the Korean Series, but I'm saying I think they're more middle of the pack. I think they'll sneak into the playoffs as the 5 or 4 seed, but I also don't think they're all the way at the bottom with Samsung and Hanwha and, of course, the Wiz and the Wyverns.
If I may just note, my Siri was just recording that whole entire conversation.
She's a creep.
Definitely.
So this weekend, the Latte Giants take on the Hanwha Eagles, the NC Dinos take on the Wyverns, like we talked about, the Doosan Bears and the Kia Tigers, the Samsung Lions and the KT Wiz, and then the Heroes and the LG Twins. So, Judah, if you don't want to do this, we don't have to, but is there any game this weekend that you're eyeing out and watching? Which series is that?
Well, there are definitely some interesting series. I'll say that much. But I think the most exciting series to look at right now this week is going to be Samsung and KT. I'm definitely excited for that game. I feel like those are two very balanced teams, and I want to see KT really emerge this season.
You're high on KT. I don't like them.
You don't like KT as much as I do, I guess.
No, I don't think they're very good at all.
Really?
No, not at all.
I mean, the record may show that, but I think overall they're a pretty decent team. Honestly, if I may, I mean, I think Mel Rojas is really going to be the savior of this team. And if I may just say, they have a solid catcher who's hitting 296 with 2 home runs and 11 RBIs. And I think that balance of hitting and home runs, I think they honestly have a decent team.
Well, I'll give you 2 series I'm going to watch this weekend. Both middle of the pack, because a lot of them this week are bad against good, but there are 2 that are right in the middle of the pack. Well, number 1 is the Doosan Bears and the Kia Tigers. And number 2, like we just talked about, the Heroes and the Twins. I want to see the Twins go out there and kick the Heroes' butt because you're talking trash about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just want to go back to the Wiz real quick because I honestly like the Wiz. I mean, they have good pitching too. I mean, you might not know this guy. His name is Jae-Sung Bae. He is a young 23-year-old. I think he's a rookie. Let me check right here. No, he started when he was 19 years old.
They all start really young.
Last year's had a 3.76 ERA in 28 games. So he really seems like he's going to be a great pitcher. So he looks like he's going to be their ace. They also have. Sorry, this is a really confusing.
It's all right. Go for it.
Adrisamer Despaigne.
That's their pitcher, right? That's a starter.
Yeah, he's a starting pitcher.
He's all right.
Pitched 14 strikeouts. He had 1 bad performance in his first, but he came right back around. Actually, no, he had 2 great performances. So he's not looking bad at all.
He's all right. Nothing special.
Yeah. His second performance wasn't too great, but he's overall looking pretty good. He looks like a solid foreign player on that team. And their bullpen looks middle of the pack. But if I'm talking about a team that's going to finish middle of the pack that might have a chance, out of every team here that might have a chance, I'm talking teams that have a chance to make it up through being an unfavored team and underdog. Mm-hmm. I definitely have to say it's either going to be KT or it's going to be Samsung.
Yeah, I agree on Samsung. I want to see them come up and surprise some people because they're sitting down at 6 and 7 right now.
Yeah.
Other than that, but I want to see the Twins do good this weekend. I want to prove to you that they're really good.
Well, I'm not too high on the Twins, but we will see what happens. Twins have some decent pieces on that team.
If you're
They
up
do.
to
I'm
it,
not
I
gonna lie.
if you're up to it, I want to talk about some of the league leaders. We don't have to do most of them because I'm not gonna lie. We don't know all the players in this league yet. We could probably
No.
do baseball, but we can point out some players that we've at least heard of in the league leaders. So I guess we'll start with pitching. We talked about the guy from Kivu, Eric Jakic, and he's second in the league in ERA now with a .82. Warwick's Polled has a 1.20 ERA, and Aaron Brooks at 1.42. So out of all those three, which one have you been more impressed with the most?
Oh, definitely Aaron Brooks, without a doubt. Aaron Brooks really looks like a solid pitcher. High strikeout numbers. He's really he has some good stamina to him. Pitches over 100 pitches. He definitely looks like he's going to be a solid pitcher this season.
All right. I guess we'll go over to hitting because this. I'm sorry. This is more appealing to me. My good buddy. I'm lying, but I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of him, Roberto Ramos. I'm saying this. I want him to be a Yankee. He'd be an awesome Yankee.
I
He's
mean, honestly, we like to say that. Obviously, this is KBO, so we can't be
yes.
100% sure.
I
But
know, but
his swing looks sweet. He looks like a solid. I mean, over that short porch, he'd be great. He doesn't have that MLB swing. I don't think just yet. But I think
well,
he
the
brings
problem
the
is
game.
he doesn't hit left-handed pitching. That's why he came over here. He has to perfect his left-handed pitching. But if he can
Well,
do that and come over here,
maybe he has. I mean, maybe after one season, Yankees could pick him up, bring him in for Luke Voigt against some righties, and he could be a solid player.
yeah, I'd venture to say he'd be a good platoon option, not just with the
Yeah.
Yankees, but anywhere. If he can not hit lefties, then he'll do good thing. If he'll hit 25 homers against righties, yeah, bring him
But
in.
you know what, Joe? If I may be so bold, I feel like we're underselling the KBO here. KBO is an extremely competitive environment, and some players love the attention. So, honestly speaking, if Roberto Ramos gets offered a star role on the Twins and gets offered a backup role in the Yankees, it's really a question which option he'll choose.
He's going to choose the option of playing every day. I think any other player would.
Yeah, even if it's in the KBO, but it really depends because the Yankees are a really deep playoff team as they always have been.
Yep.
So it's definitely a difficult option. But that's even saying that he's going to get offered a contract. Roberto Ramos has had a scorching start to the year, and I'm excited to see what else he can do at 25 years old.
Jose Fernandez is by far is the best foreign player so far. He's hitting 500, has 2 home runs, 17 hits. Do you agree with me that he's by far the best foreign player so far?
Yeah, without a doubt, he kind of reminds me of in Edwin Encarnacion, like a hit for contact. If I could just come out and say it, he's like the KBO Martinez from the Red Sox.
JD Martinez. All right.
Yeah, he plays DH, so he's obviously not a great fielder, but he's batting 500, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 3 walks, great discipline. He's getting paid $400,000 a year, so not too hefty of a contract, but he's definitely a great player this year, and I'm really excited to see because he kind of really reminds me of Jeff McNeil. Just he's nothing too athletic, as you could tell from his hitting, but he gets the job done when it comes to contact and getting on base, and that's something that this team could really use because they do hit home runs, and it's important to have a contact guy like that on your team.
Mel Rojas Jr. on your underdog KT Wiz is hitting 457 with an OPS leading the foreign players of 1.144. So
See, that's why I like the Wiz so much because he's their contact guy, and then they actually have some decent power hitters on that team, but they just need to like they're formally pretty good at power hitting, but they've been having a slow start to the season. But I definitely think if they could pick it up, then this will be a dangerous team.
well, I don't think you're going to get a lot of power from him. Like right now, he's second in batting average and second in hits, of course, to the former Jose Martinez that we just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, he's more of a 2-hitter, a 1-hitter, but the middle of their lineup could definitely pick him up. I've seen their former stats, and they all look pretty powerful. I do like the KT Wiz as an overall team.
You're a fan of this kid, Preston Tucker. He's hitting 406 with an OBP of about 500, 4 homers. He walked 6 times in 9 games. How high are you in Preston Tucker with the Kia Tigers?
Pretty high on Preston Tucker. I like what he does. He's a solid player. He's a good fielder as well. He's really a multiple tool. If I even may dare say, I guess would be the wording. He's a 5-tool player in my opinion. He's got the speed, he's got the fielding, he's got the hitting. power as well. He looks like an overall great player, and I am excited to see how he does this season.
And one more thing from me, we see Tyler Saladino now going to the 10-day injured list. He was hitting 174. He had a home run, OBP of 240. So if you agree with me here, he's got to get himself back going because he's going to be really important to Samsung if they have any kind of playoff aspiration.
Yeah, definitely. But if I just want to note out one player that caught my eye a lot over this whole entire season so far, and he's really impressing me, is Dixon Machado. I mean, he's extremely clutch. RBI doubles, RBI home runs, RBI singles. He is clutch when the team needs him. He comes through, and he's a shortstop who's good at fielding. You know how important it is to have a good hitting shortstop.
And
teams that have a good hitting shortstop have a dynamic lineup, and the Giants definitely have that.
You like his hitting. I love his fielding. I love his fielding when he was with Detroit. And you talk about he's second in RBIs in the league. So he's obviously a really good player. But the defense is just an added bonus. That's really good.
Yeah, and let's not forget, the team around him on the Giants are explosive. And this is why I love the Giants. I definitely think they're coming in second, and they're going to give the Dinos a run for their money. Dae-Ho Lee, again, the prolific power hitter. He hasn't been hitting very well this season power-wise, but he's batting .414. So maybe we'll see a Miguel Cabrera type of season from him. So nothing too aspiring. But we do see A-Sop's son at 32 years old also getting paid around $2 million. And he's batting for average as well this season. So I just want to note that Dixon Machado being as clutch as he is, with these guys constantly getting on base, I think that he's a really good way to get RBIs and score for this team along with their great pitching.
Judah, anything else to add from the third series of the year?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think we went over most of what we could go over. But I am excited to see Adrian Sampson make his first start. That is something that I'm excited.
Is that coming this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's coming back from seeing his dad after I think he got COVID. So all blessings go out to him.
Yes, sir.
And he's coming from the Rangers. He's really a young guy. He was throwing like 96 before he got cut, and I want to see how that's going to transition to the KBO. And I'm surprised he even came over here because he still had a chance to do well in the MLB, especially on a previously bad rotation like the Rangers. Now they have a really good rotation. So I wonder how he's going to do now that the Rangers got rid of him.
Yeah, most guys don't throw hard, so I want to see how these KBO hitters can do against them if he's going to be pumping 96, 97 regularly.
Yeah, well, I expect the exit velocity to go up a lot because a lot of these hitters hit for contact, and I've been looking into it, and there's so many contact hitters and so few power hitters in the KBO. But you can tell that the power hitters actually use the leg kick, but they have a higher launch angle, and it's really crazy to look at because they have the MLB form when it comes to launch angle and keeping your hands inside whatever, but the leg kick stays the same throughout the whole entire league for Korean baseball players. And it's pretty impressive to see. And it looks so sweet coming off the bat with some of these Korean baseball players.
So before we wrap up the show, there was a report from this Korean baseball writer on Twitter that I follow, and he was saying that the league conducted an investigation into the juice baseballs because people thought that the balls were juiced over the weekend, over this week because of all the home runs that were being hit. Nothing came back. The baseballs were normal. But were you surprised of all the home runs that there were?
I mean, I don't really know what they're talking about. There was more home runs than was used to for the KBO.
That's what I was saying. I wasn't that surprised. There weren't a lot. It's not a power-based league.
Listen, we know how the world is in general. People get really suspicious. ESPN just bought out the rights to broadcast, so maybe they wanted more exciting games for their broadcast, and I could definitely see why people will be suspicious, but I don't really see any evidence that points to it, if you know what I mean.
That's right. So I guess we'll do it now, Judah. We're gonna be planning to do a daily show on the KBO, like I was planning to on Major League Baseball until their season got delayed, and hopefully the players this week will vote in favor of playing baseball this year. But for the time being, me and Judah are going to try. If I'm not here, Judah will do it. Of doing daily Korean baseball recaps. That way we don't have to do these longed out shows for and notes for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
We can condense it into one 15 to a half hour show daily based on all the games that happen.
Easily digestible for you guys. There's not going to be any research needing to be done on your part. I'll go over everything for you. We'll go over everything for you, and it'll be easily digestible. You won't have to sit here for an hour and a half to listen to what happened in KBO baseball this week.
And that is our goal. We're trying to digest what we see we're trying to recap or process what we get. Sorry, I'm using a lot of words. We're trying to get we're trying to process from what happens in the games and then broadcast it out to you guys so we're some sort of outlet for this. Because this is new to everyone, and because it's new to everyone, this is a good chance for us to show our voice a little bit.
And maybe we'll get some KBO team fans out there. Right now, I'm rooting for the Giants.
I don't have a team. I'm just so happy that something's back on to watch. Maybe I'll find a team if this goes any longer.
I'm thinking about investing in a DVR so that I could record the game.
You don't have a DVR? What are you, in 1904?
No, I'm gonna need you to send me those games, Joe.
How do you have a DVR?
I don't know, man.
My God, I'll figure something out for you. I always record my games. Works out great. So yeah, I'm Joe Morales. You can get me on Twitter at Joe Morales _ and the show is MDM Pod on Twitter. Anything else to add, Judah?
Nope. I just decided to see what happened with KBO.
I'm Joe Morales. This is Judah Aloof. This has been the MDM Podcast.